But is the movie over? Point Break. So this Point Break is a remake of the original Point Break with Patrick Swayze and Keanu Reeves, kind of. And in Point Break, there's this group of guys that are committing these crimes. They're extreme athletes, they're adrenaline junkies. So Johnny Utah is new to the FBI and he's like, oh hey, I kind of think like them. I'm gonna infiltrate their gang, I'm gonna bring them in. So now we have a more boring attempt at Point Break. Now I don't always like comparing the remake to the original, but I'm gonna do it in this one in the sense that at my fingertips, I can reference the original and be like, see, they did something better in there that this one just didn't do. But rest assured, where this movie fails is as a movie in and of itself, not as a remake, not compared to the original. All right, that out of the way, let's get to it. All right, I'm gonna list off what I liked about this movie because I'm coming off of Christmas, I'm still feeling positive, I wanna feel some Christmas spirit, I have a little bit of optimism left in here, so let's talk about it. What I liked were the extreme sports. I mean, when they're skiing down the mountains, when they're climbing the cliff, there's this one rock climbing segment that was actually, I was like, wow, everyone's dangling at their fingertips. It looks like they could fall at any moment. I feel like someone could die. And the surfing was really cool. I mean, the camera's in the tube with them. I was like, oh, it's like you're surfing. How cool is that? Does the marriage of GoPro and YouTube allow us to see that stuff online right now at our fingertips every day, all day? Yes. So is that a valid reason to say this movie's interesting at all? No. All right, where does this movie fail? Everywhere else. And what I mean by everywhere else is that, all right, the people in this movie, they just don't interest me. They bored me. I wasn't interested with Johnny Utah. I wasn't interested with the FBI. It's really funny because Ray Winstone in this movie, he has this line he says to Johnny Utah. He's like, sometimes it's the FBI. Sometimes it's downright boring. I was like, great. There are Oscar bait movies that come around most every year, if not every other year, that try to illustrate that to us. Can we save it for that? Not Point Break? It's a movie about extreme athletes who commit crimes where this dude who's also an extreme athlete who happens to work for the FBI infiltrates their gang. This should be fun. And that's what the other movie did right that this just did wrong. The original Point Break kept it simple. Bodhi and his crew were a bunch of, hey dude, it's like a bunch of Michelangelos from Ninja Turtles who surfed, who happened to rob banks, probably for the simplest reason ever, because they liked money. This movie tries to make Bodhi and his crew like they're out there doing this 8-point checklist tacked onto crimes for a spiritual experience. So at that point, they're almost like this religious group. They believe what they're doing is the best thing for the earth and themselves at a spiritual level. This movie just overreached, man. It's proof that more isn't better. You have more locations. They're doing it for a spiritual reason. Oh, the other movie? No, that's small potatoes. Just like it takes place on one beach and they're robbing banks just because they rob banks because it's fun and they liked money. Yeah, that's just more interesting than this movie where you tried to make it bigger, but you ultimately took Bodhi's group and turned them into a bunch of Vulcans I don't care about. This is the classic case of the remake that tries to make it darker and grittier, but in doing that, it just lost all of the fun. I was bored shitless in a movie about extreme sports and crime. How? In the end, Point Break is a pretty shitty Christmas gift if you ask me. The characters were boring, the crew was boring, I wasn't interested in anything, I wasn't interested in the stakes they had in this movie. The extreme sports stuff did entertain me as I was watching it, but it's proof positive that bigger isn't better, and above all else, don't be afraid to have fun in a movie that should be fun. I will say, Point Break, you're not gonna remember it in T-1 day. All right, so Point Break, have you seen it? What? You have not seen this. So what is your favorite movie revolving around extreme sports? Whatever it is, whatever you think, comment below, let me know. And as always, if you like what you've seen here and you want to see more, click right here to see more.